Today in the Fresh Brew Run Club, my breakdown and first run reaction of the Nike Vomero 18 Gore-Tex. Welcome to the Fresh Brew Run Club. My name is Aaron and it is a brand new year. Happy 2026, and I'm back with a brand new pair of running shoes for today's breakdown and first run review. It is the Nike Vomero 18 Gore-Tex. So this is a shoe I'm pretty excited about. If you have seen my videos before, you know I have made quite a few videos about the Nike Vomero line, the Nike Vomero 18, the Vomero Plus, the Vomero Premium, which was my shoe of the year for 2025. So when I was looking for a winter running shoe, I put it out there to the internet. Hey, help me out. I'm looking for something that is going to be good for daily winter mileage. It's a little bit slippery here in Michigan. We got snow, we got ice, we had a rainstorm last week, all kinds of different weather. I need a shoe that is going to get me from point A to point B without slipping and falling and breaking my arm. And I got a lot of great suggestions, but a couple people did recommend the Vomero 18 Gore-Tex, or at least pointed out that it's a pretty new shoe to the Nike shoe lineup, and I should check it out based on how much I liked the Nike Vomero 18 non-Gore-Tex edition. So that's what I did. I bought these on StockX, and I'm excited to give these a try today. But first, we're going to do a quick breakdown of this shoe from the outsole all the way to the top of the shoe. Then I'm going to go for about a 6-mile run to test these out. It has been snowing for like the past 3 days, so we got a good covering of slick conditions on the sidewalks and the streets. So we'll really put these shoes to the test right out of the box. So let's take it back to the Nike Vomero 18, which was a totally redesigned version of the Vomero. I would say this is a cushioned daily trainer. It has two types of foam in the midsole. It has the ReactX foam on the bottom. I'm pointing down, and then the ZoomX foam on the top of the midsole. So the ReactX gives you that stability. Nike calls it responsiveness. And then the ZoomX foam is their cushioned foam. It's their lightweight foam. I rated these a buy them again, and I did buy them again. This is my second pair of the Vomero 18s, and I have about 250 or so miles on my second pair so far. I'm really a big fan of these shoes. So Nike has done this in the past, and a lot of shoe brands do this, where they take one of their daily trainers or kind of one of their standard shoes in their running shoe lineup, and they make a Gore-Tex edition. Gore-Tex helps to keep the rain out of the shoe, but remain a little bit breathable. It's just a great thing for winter running when you have wind and rain and snow and ice and all sorts of moisture that can get in the shoe, but you want to retain a little bit of breathability so that you're not running in wet socks. Let's just do a breakdown starting with the outsole. So Nike has something called a storm tread. That's kind of their own like proprietary winter running grip type of tread. And you can see it does sort of have lugs on this shoe, but they're not super pronounced. Maybe like 1/8 of an inch tall, but that's definitely more than the Vomero 18, which is a very flat shoe. The forefoot of the shoe has little teeth on the back side of these triangles, so that when you're pushing off, the teeth kind of grip the ground. And on the heel area, it also has these triangles, but they go in opposite directions, and they have those little teeth going both ways. So no matter how your heel is hitting the ground, those teeth are able to get a little more grip, whether you're a heel striker, whether you're kind of sliding back a little bit. So you got a lot of grip options. I'm very curious to see how durable this is. I have been running outside in bad conditions in trail shoes, and honestly, they're super durable. That outsole is not getting worn down because it's a very tough outsole material. So we'll see how this storm tread holds up over time. Jumping up to the midsole, I don't think there are any major changes. You have the ReactX on the bottom, you have the ZoomX on the top to give you that combination of stability but also cushion. And then we have the upper, where the 18 has this kind of mesh, almost breathable type of material. This one is a much more tighter weave. The Gore-Tex is going to keep the moisture out. It has a couple different materials. So on the top is just kind of like a, I don't know, some sort of meshy, soft material. And then this black, I think it's black, maybe gray area is maybe a little more of a durable material here. So another layer on top of that green outsole. There is a reflective stripe, which is kind of cool. Any additional reflective material is much appreciated to help keep me visible out on the streets and sidewalks of Metro Detroit. Other differences on the upper, the eyelets for the shoelaces appear to be a little bit more of a durable material, some kind of like plastic, as opposed to these, which were stitched into like a piece of string almost. This is actually like real eyelets. It looks like the laces are the same. They might be a little more heavy duty, a little thicker. The tongue looks pretty similar, although you have that different material from the upper that just goes up the tongue, maybe a little less padded compared to the Vomero 18. It's very close, but it feels like the Vomero 18 has a little more padding. Looking at the insole, it looks like it is the same. It just has a different design on the inside. For reference, it says Gore-Tex, Storm Tread, stay warm, stay dry, keep running. Very motivational. The inside of the Vomero 18 just says road, so not quite as inspirational as the Gore-Tex version of the Vomero 18. And then just from an overall design perspective, I'm gonna be honest with you, these are not my favorite looking shoes. They're kind of ugly. I love this colorway, this sort of bright volt orange kind of colorway. Really cool. There's a lot of great colorways from the Vomero 18s. The Chicago Marathon edition of that shoe, whew, that is a good looking shoe. These are not so good. The women's version of this shoe, they do have a colorway that I like a lot better, but I think this one comes in this color, it comes in black, and it comes in white so far, which just not the most exciting colors. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not the end of the world. And really what matters is how it feels and how it performs when I'm out there in the snow and the rain and the ice. So according to Nike, this shoe has a 10mm heel to toe drop. Also very interesting, it said that this shoe weighs 9 ounces, which to me seemed super light. I looked up what Nike says the original Vomero 18 weighs, and they said 11.5 ounces, which that doesn't make sense at all. Just holding these shoes, this one feels heavier, so I want to do like a live test. So I have a very simple, not super scientific food scale to just do a quick comparison of the weights, because I thought that was such a drastic difference that it is worth doing a very rudimentary weight measurement in real time in this video. So let's do it. All right, I have a multi-cam system for this just so you can see the actual scale. Tear it. Start with the Vomero 18, the original version. It is 278 grams, which this is probably a little heavier than it was out of the box just because it soaks up dirt and sweat and a little bit of moisture, and they just get heavier over time. So now we'll tear it again, and we will try the Vomero 18 Gore-Tex. 261. So this shoe is actually a little bit lighter than the traditional Vomero 18, which is interesting. Not a massive difference, to be honest, but I would have thought that this would be heavier just because it has a much more thick outsole. But if you feel the upper, it is like a thinner material compared to the 18, which is like more padded, I would say. So kind of interesting, but basically about the same size. Again, this is just a food scale. It's not super scientific. So I just wanted to do a comparison. It's definitely not as much of a difference as the Nike website is saying. So anyway, that is a breakdown of the Nike Vomero 18 Gore-Tex. I'm going to go out for a run. Like I said, it's been snowing the last few days. We got ice, we got snow on the ground, we got flurries, we got packed down snow, we got wet roads, we got all kinds of conditions that are going to be great for this shoe. So with that, I'm going to go on about a 6-mile run, and about halfway through, I'm going to stop and give my thoughts on this shoe. So I'll see you out there. All right, 4 miles down into my run in the Nike Vomero 18 Gore-Tex. I'm gonna let this truck pass. Okay, so Vomero 18, first thoughts right out of the box when I put them on my feet, they're a little bit snug. So they're not snug lengthwise, like my toe is not pushing up against the front of the shoe. They're not snug width-wise, they are snug height-wise. So I can feel the top of the upper on top of my feet way more than I did with the Vomero 18s. I got a size 10 in the Vomero 18s, I got a size 10 in the 18 Gore-Texes, so it technically is the same size, but much less room. I had to like loosen my laces at the end of the lace section just to give my feet a little more room. After 4 miles, it's not too big of a problem. I don't notice it too much. It's not like I'm gonna return these or anything like that. They're just a little bit snug on the top of your feet. I don't know if that is because like the insole is thicker or the upper on top of the foot is a little bit thicker, but just something to keep in mind. If you have problems with that, you might want to try to size up maybe, although the rest of the shoe fits fine. So I personally wouldn't want to size up because I feel like my feet would be sort of swimming in the shoe. So the actual running performance, very interesting. First few miles in these shoes, definitely a big difference between the Vomero 18s. These feel much firmer than the 18s. And my theory on this is the outsole. It's a much thicker, more serious outsole than the regular Vomero 18s. So it makes the shoes a little stiffer, which makes them feel firmer. It's also 15 degrees outside, so that is going to impact how these shoes feel. But again, that's the weather that I'm gonna be running in these shoes anyway. So I'm probably gonna have to get used to a little more firmness than if it was 80 degrees outside. So definitely a more heavy duty shoe. Okay, so I recorded the end to this video and then I went back to edit it, and that whole segment was gone. That file's just missing. So here I am again trying to remember what I said. The wind is picking up. Hopefully that doesn't mess up the audio. Anyway, let's just jump into my overall thoughts on the Nike Vomero Gore-Tex. I think this is a great shoe. This is exactly what I'm looking for. I want something that is going to be able to handle that sort of light snow, packed down snow, minimal ice, but also when I run on someone's sidewalk that is shoveled, it is not too aggressive, you know, like a traditional trail shoe would be. Obviously, I mentioned the toe box is a little bit tight from a vertical standpoint, so definitely something to keep an eye on. We'll see if that's just a matter of me like breaking it in a little bit. So I'm gonna keep running in this as long as the conditions are like this, and it's January in Michigan, so I fully expect the weather to remain pretty similar to what we have now. There's a car coming. I'll keep running in these. I definitely want to make a 100-mile review of this shoe, but so far so good. Like I said, I think this is exactly the type of shoe that I'm looking for to get me to the spring. But yeah, overall very impressed. I'm glad I got this. Thank you for the suggestions, the recommendations. I appreciate all of them, even if I didn't go with your suggestion. I always appreciate that sort of positive feedback. So yeah, that'll be it for today. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you soon.